All right, to get started, I'm just going to do this so that I have a video that I made that is up on YouTube, but it's not as descriptive, and I wanted to remake it so I could show Haley what I was working on and then show Justin, because they're working on something kind of particular. I showed a website. In this case, I'm going to demonstrate how to use GameMaker for a kiosk. So I kind of randomly chose this kiosk screen. It is in Photoshop. I can look and see the image size, and it's like 400 pixels wide by 600 pixels high, no problem. That's great. And what I want to do now is add some buttons. And the main thing is the buttons shouldn't be incorporated in my image. It should be, they should be extra on top so that I can export them independently. So this, I'm just going to say main kiosk, and then I'm going to add a layer, and I'm just going to make my first button, although I would want to make this for all of my buttons. And I'm just going to make a really dumb, simple button that says, and I'm on my kiosk layer, so I actually don't want that. I want my layer 1, my button layer. And I'm just going to say, fill that in with this green, and then with my type tool, I'm just going to write buy now. Everybody has a more sophisticated approach than this, but this is what I got for the moment. One thing is, I probably want two states. I want the current state, oops, which is like buy the thing, this green button that says buy now. And then maybe I also want a second state, and the second state is going to be red, meaning, okay, I've clicked on the button. Honestly, I would want to think this through a little bit more, because maybe red usually indicates stop. So, do I want to make it red? Is that the message that I want to give? But I'm just trying to get her done. Cool, and now I'm going to fill this in with red. Or I guess I could do dark green so that you know it's an overstate. That's what I'll do. Just because the issue with red is just it's saying something. So this is my overstate. So when someone hovers over, it looks like this. And then in its normal state, it looks like that. Great. I have the main kiosk. I'm going to take my button with its current state, and I'm going to take both of those things, and I'm going to hopefully be able to do file, export as, no, it's exporting the whole thing. I'm just going to crop it to this. And then I will crop it, and I'll say save a copy as, I'm going to do kiosk, and I want it to be buy now in my kiosk folder. And then I'm going to go back in history and go back to where I was with my overstate. And now I'm going to get that, collapse that, and that's my overstate. So file, export, no, is that what I want? I'm sorry. I'm going to do file, save a copy, And I'm going to go to my desktop, to my kiosk, and I'm going to say buy over. Cool. So those two states. Now I'm going to go back in history, and I don't want to see the buttons at all because I just have this kiosk. And in my main kiosk, I do want that border. So now I'll do save a copy, and I'll go to my desktop, and I'll go kiosk, and then I'll say kiosk background. Cool. Right now I'm ready for GameMaker. I can fire up GameMaker, and in this GameMaker, a couple things. One, for my primary room, I'm going to make this the kiosk. So I'm going to say R kiosk 1, meaning the first page of my kiosk. I'll click on that room, then I'll click on my background layer, and I want to import that big main kiosk image that I had. So I'm going to hit sprites, right click, create sprite. I'm going to import that kiosk from my desktop. And that's 432 by 661. I should write that down somewhere, 432, 661. Because when I go over to my room editor, my room is a whole different size, and I needed to match my kiosk size. So the width is going to be 432 by 661. Now those two things match. My room matches my sprite. That sprite is S kiosk 1. But I go over here, and now when I go to background, and I want to add a sprite to that background, so an image to the background, I can add the kiosk. Now if I run this, hit cancel, don't worry about that. If I run this, I have a couple of options. I can run it as a Windows file, and that's what this would look like. Great, it's this big now. There is an option to run it as something else. I think you can do a phone, the Mac phone OS. No, sorry, that's the Mac operating system. This is the iPhone operating system, Android. So I have other options for how I export it. In this case, because it's going to be a kiosk, it's perfectly fine to just run it straight like this. And then it'll be obvious what it is and how it's made. I'm then going to go and I'm going to make a button. So I need to create another sprite. And this sprite, I'm going to import the Buy Now button. I'm going to say S for sprite, Buy Now button. Cool, that's great. And I'm going to add another button, another sprite, create another sprite that imports the over state, Buy Now over. Great, and I'll name this Buy Now over. Great. One last thing is it would be nice if I had 2 examples from this website about where I might go once they pick one of these options to buy. Maybe I'll just go into my Photoshop file and outline this. Just so you know that this is a different page. Let me go to Edit, Stroke, 29 pixels. It seems like a lot. I'm gonna do that. Edit. Stroke 15 pixels. Okay. So at least this looks like a different page. Now I'll do save a copy. I'll go to my desktop, I'll go to my kiosk, and I'll say kiosk 2. Kiosk 2. The reason is I want a destination page in GameMaker. So I'm going to go back to my GameMaker. I'm going to go ahead and pull in that second image as a sprite. And that will be kiosk 2. So S kiosk 2. Then I'm going to go to rooms. I'm going to add a new room. And this new room will be R kiosk 2. And I'm going to go to the background layer, choose sprite. And whoops, not at all what I wanted. Kiosk 2. Great. The kiosk 2 is the same size, 435. So I need to make sure that my room is that big. So 432, this needs to be 432 by 661. Cool. So I have 2 rooms and a button. I'm going to go to my first room, and I would like to add the button, but we don't add a sprite directly. The sprite is an object that cannot have any kind of code on it. So I need to go to my objects, and I'm going to create a new object, and this will be called Go Buy Now. And I'm going to choose the Buy Now button, and let me go back to my main page, and I'm going to drag this Buy Now button onto here. It's mad at me because I tried to drag it onto my backgrounds. I need to put it in my instances layer. Great, I put it in there. Now if I run this, what do I have? Nothing. It doesn't look like a button at all. What I need to do is I need to go to my object, and I need to add some interactivity. First thing I need to do is I want to have a rollover, so that when you go to the Buy Now, a second thing pops up, so that you have some sort of indicator that this thing is interactive. And how I do that is I don't want it to, I can have it clicked on, but clicking automatically takes me to the next room. I want to give someone a chance to see what's going on and see what thing's a button or not. So the thing that works best is if the mouse enters the Buy Now button, so if it rolls over the Buy Now button, what happens? Well, what I can do is I can take that sprite, the bright green Buy Now sprite, and I can put a new one in there. And in that case, I'm going to do the over. Let's see what that looks like. So now, oh, it's a button. Kind of problematic because I rolled over it and now it's dark green. It's stuck dark green. So let me add another event. Mouse leave. When the mouse leaves, what we want to do is we want to set the sprite back to the original Buy Now. Let's see what that looks like when we run it. Okay, that looks pretty good. That says button to me. Now we can add one more event, which is when someone presses down the left mouse button. What I would like it to do is I would like, when they click on this button, I want it to go to my next page. And by that I mean my next room. So let me search for room in here. And I put that there, and then I'm saying go to room 2. Let's run that. Boom. Okay. And in this case, I don't have any way of getting back. It's just a simple way to manipulate. Cool. I'm going to stop recording with OBS.